December 10th, 1967, slices through the freezing air above Madison, Wisconsin. Rain taps against the windows. Visibility is low. Inside the cabin, a group of young, rising musicians sit in quiet anticipation, weary from touring but driven by something bigger. A dream. Among them is a 26-year-old Otis Redding, a man whose voice has begun to reshape American music. A voice smooth as silk, powerful as gospel, and raw with emotion. His songs aren't just popular, they're timeless. His energy on stage, unmatched. His ambition, boundless. He's not just performing anymore, he's breaking barriers, reaching audiences that never expected to feel soul music so deeply. But as the aircraft descends toward the lake-covered landscape below, something begins to go wrong. What happened next would leave a permanent scar on the music world and spark decades of questions, heartbreak, and legend. This is the story of a man who seemed destined for greatness, and the shocking final moments that no one saw coming. The rise of a soul legend. Otis Redding Jr. was born on September 9, 1941 in Dawson, Georgia, where gospel music poured from church pews and radio speakers. At 5, his family moved to Macon, a city buzzing with future legends like Little Richard, who would become one of Otis's greatest inspirations. Otis's voice first found a home in the choir at Vineville Baptist Church. By 10, he was learning piano, guitar, and drums. He wasn't just a singer, he was a student of sound. By his early teens, he was winning talent shows, performing on local radio, and helping his family with the little money he earned through music. But life hit hard when his father became ill. At 15, Otis dropped out of school to work full-time, digging wells, pumping gas, whatever it took. At night, he performed with local bands like the Upsetters, soaking up every note, every lesson. He wasn't just learning music, he was learning resilience, discipline, and how to hold an audience in the palm of his hand. His break came in 1958 at a local talent show hosted by DJ Hamp Swain. Despite being backed by a weak band, Otis's rendition of Heebie-Jeebies by Little Richard, with help from guitarist Johnny Jenkins, lit up the crowd. He won, then he won again, and again, for 15 straight weeks. Studio sessions followed, so did local fame and love, in the form of Zelma Atwood, who'd become his wife and the mother of his children. Then came 1962, a twist of fate. Otis tagged along to a recording session at Stax Records in Memphis, there only to support Johnny Jenkins. But when Jenkins rapped early, Otis asked for a few minutes in front of the mic. In a single take, he sang a song he'd written himself, a haunting ballad called These Arms of Mine. It wasn't just good, it was unforgettable. Released later that year, the song became a national R&B hit. Suddenly, Otis Redding wasn't a name on a poster. He was the future of soul. He signed with Stax, crafting hits marked by raw emotion and gritty power. Pain in My Heart, Mr. Pitiful, Try a Little Tenderness. His 1965 album Otis Blue was a tour de force. He didn't just perform soul, he redefined it. Crowds grew, so did his dreams. He played Whiskey A Go-Go in LA, toured Europe, and brought down the house at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967, a pivotal moment that introduced him to white mainstream audiences and placed him alongside the biggest acts in rock. He was on the edge of something bigger, something transformative. He even started experimenting with a new sound, softer, more introspective. One afternoon on a houseboat in Sausalito, he began writing a song inspired by the waves and the silence. Sitting on the dock of the bay. But he would never hear the finished version. The Crash. On December 10th, 1967, Otis and his band, the Bar-Kays, were flying to a show in Madison, Wisconsin. He'd just performed 3 times in 2 nights. He was exhausted, but committed. He called his wife that morning. She later said he sounded off. He chalked it up to fatigue. He had a private plane now, a Beechcraft H-18. It wasn't luxurious, but it got him from show to show. On board were Otis, 5 members of the Bar-Kays, their valet, and the pilot. One bandmate, bassist James Alexander, didn't make the flight due to lack of space. It saved his life. The weather in Madison was grim. Dense fog, freezing rain, near zero visibility. Airport staff urged them to delay, but Otis insisted, "I've never missed a gig in my life." They took off. At 3:25 p.m., the pilot radioed for landing clearance over Lake Monona. Minutes later, the plane dropped from the sky, low, tilted, spiraling, and crashed into the lake. It didn't explode on impact. It floated briefly, eerily, before slipping beneath the icy surface. Only one man made it out alive. Ben Cauley, the band's trumpet player, had been asleep. The crash threw him into the water. He couldn't swim, but he clutched a seat cushion and held on. Around him, screams echoed and then faded. When rescue boats arrived, Ben was the only one left above water. Divers recovered 2 bodies that night. The next morning, they found Otis, still strapped to his seat. He was 26. The legacy. 3 days before his death, Otis had recorded "Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay." Released posthumously, it became the first song in US history to hit #1, one after the artist's death. It revealed a new side of Otis: gentle, meditative, aching. He left behind a wife, 3 children, a devastated community, and a voice that would never truly fade. In the years that followed, tributes poured in. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, awarded a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, and immortalized by generations of artists who drew from his passion, power, and soul. But the question still lingers: what more could he have given the world? What songs remain unwritten? What sound would soul music carry today if Otis Redding were still singing? Otis once said he just wanted to make people feel something. He did. And if you felt something today, remember him, because some voices, they are never truly gone.